Hi, everybody. This is your old pal, Billy West. I do some voices on TV. And you're listening to Brigade-Radio-One.
You're listening to Brigade-Radio-One.
Hello there.
Hey, Jeremy Bulloch. Oh, my gosh.
It can't be.
It is.
Where?
Right there in the UK. I cannot thank my technical advisor enough, Ronan Rosner, for actually making this call happen, because I've been trying to actually make this phone call work for forever, it seems like. And now we're finally talking to the legend. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Jeremy Bulloch. He's known for his work with Roger Moore, Peter Sellers, famed as Boba Fett with George Lucas and Harrison Ford in the Star Wars series. And I am just, well, you and I go back a ways, Jeremy, but for the audience's sake, I'm going to play it like we're talking for the first time.
Well, we certainly do go back quite a way. This is good to get an interview because Boba Fett doesn't speak very much.
No,
so
I know.
This is cool.
Yeah, it is interesting because you had actually pointed out to me that you had 11 lines in the film, but you're a wristwatch, an action figure, you're all these, you've been licensed repeatedly, as it were.
Yes. No, I think it's probably to say 11 lines. That's too many. I think I had about 5. But it is incredible to the amount of when people have said to me, Mr. Bulloch, what do you think about your career? Where do you feel you are now? I said, well, now that I'm a Lego, an American stamp, and several other toys, I don't wish for anything else. I said it's incredible to be copied in plastic.
I think Lego's going to really appreciate you mentioning them out of the gate first. I shouldn't. If it's BBC, you shouldn't advertise. We're not allowed to. So I should have said that. It's okay with us. Hey, real quick, I want to introduce you. I have a couple of co-hosts sitting in with me. Both Andrew and Lori Quaddy are sitting here, makers of the fine Starboard 88 port, or what?
Yep.
And they might chime into this conversation a little bit. But I'm you know what? You are also the author of a real fantastic book. It's a collector's item. The book's called Flying Solo. And as a collector's item, we'll talk momentarily where people can find it if it's still available.
Okay, yep.
But the book itself is really an interesting piece of work. I mean, astounding piece of work. And it, just from a picture standpoint, are, pictures from your military days, archery days, when you were the master of Ballantrae, to the James Bond series, to working with Peter Sellers. I mean, it's really an incredible story. I mean, even your work on Robin Hood is chronicled a little bit in it. But
well, you see, I think, I've been very lucky that, from an actor from the age of 12, and funny enough, just recently someone sent me literally last week, sent me a DVD of something I did when I was 14, which was an adventure series about the Germans coming to the Channel Islands during the war. I mean, when you look at it, black and white, and the sets were pretty awful, but if the adventure is good, if you listen to what's going on and you enjoy it, you don't really worry that the one door is wobbling in the corner.
Right.
But that's what it was like. It was live television. So to have gone through live television and then come through to live theatre was a terrific. I think I became an actor just at the right time.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. What's interesting too is you've had a chance to work with some real people that we respect quite a bit. I mean, you had told me in conversation once that you really liked working with Roger Moore, who you worked with repeatedly,
yes.
And that he
probably the nicest man you'll ever meet. I mean, he just was. I think there was an awful lot of giggling because I was in 3 films. I played Q's assistant, Smithers. Mm-hmm. It was a very small, tiny part, and every time you got onto the set, Roger Moore would turn around and say, "Oh, you're not here again, are you?"
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Oh, well, never mind. I mean, he was that lovely sort of gentle humor and very charming man and a delight to work with.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you meet a personality like that, as iconic as he was for the role of James Bond, a lot of times there's sort of a sense that they may be rigid or difficult to work with in their effort to maintain character. But you said that you got along with him great, and he was fun, and he was a blast. And you said the same thing about Star Wars. I think your experience on Star Wars with Irving Kershner, the director, or Empire Strikes Back, rather, but of the Star Wars.
I mean, fantastic. I mean, the one thing you were doing is when you got into the outfit, by the time you worked out what you were supposed to do with the outfit, how did he look, Irvin Kershner was lovely because he'd say, now, Jeremy, what I want you to do is walk along like this. And he'd show you what he wanted. And, of course, every actor has his own feeling of how he thinks the character should be as well. So you do something that's very similar to what Irvin Kershner has just shown you, but also you put a tiny bit in yourself. Mm-hmm. And he said, that's fantastic, lovely. But in his mind, and sadly we've lost Irvin Kershner, but he was lovely, that lovely sort of humor he had, but you would put your own interpretation of Boba Fett in. Because although you're being directed by a very good director, every actor has his own little piece that he puts in. And so he never said anything. He didn't say, no, I didn't show you that. Come on, let's do it again. Come on. He never did. He just said, fine, that's lovely, let's move on. Yeah. And there was a lovely sort of feeling about, I mean, I was amazed. I was in the theater at night as well as filming during the day. But I was so excited. I thought, well, this is terrific. I mean, this sci-fi film, and I'm also in a comedy play 40 miles away in the evening, and I'm back the next morning for 3 weeks. And it was so exciting. I thought, how lucky am I? I'm doing two jobs at once.
Man, I love your modesty, Jeremy. That's one of the aspects of your personality I really respect. You know, how many people recognize you as the fact not only were you Boba Fett, but you were also a couple of faced characters in the series as well? How many people realize?
Well, I mean, the real fans, Ethan, are those that follow the whole thing, and they know that you played a cameo role, and they immediately say to you, "Hey, amazing! You know, you're in the you did 3 parts in the two in one film, and then the Revenge of the Sith." You finally play Captain Colton. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people say, oh, I didn't know that, because you do have to look. It's very much a cameo role. You have to look to see what I did in it. And you could turn away to grab a cup of tea and I've gone. Maybe I should do that, just play very small parts from now on.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd be satisfied with that. But, you know, you through your efforts in that franchise, you formed quite a relationship with Disney and Disney World. In fact, you're actually immortalized in Disney World. If you're not, you got like a cement plaque with your hands in.
Oh yes, that was some years ago, probably 10 years ago now, maybe more. And you put your hands in cement, and then you sign your name underneath. So that was nice, you know. And I think that was the weekend that Carrie Fisher was also there with doing her hands as well. So the Star Wars weekends are terrific. I mean, you're rather like a baby, right, or a little boy, and saying, "Isn't this fantastic?" Everyone going through that incredible heat, but the Disney weekends are such fun. You do your day, and it's quite, you know, well, it's more difficult for the people who come to see you in that heat, but you do your piece and you get up on stage and you're interviewed, and at the end of it, you say, this is terrific. And then you go, my wife and I said, come on, let's go. And we had a glass of wine sitting by where we're at the boardwalk. Mm-hmm. And there's so much going on there, wonderful restaurants. And for me, it's like being a 5-year-old going to a big party at Disney.
Did you imagine when your life first began, basically with you and your family back at living in colonial luxury, as it's known in the book, when you had these very, very colonial, you know, almost regal beginnings, that you would be such a sci-fi icon? I mean, did that ever occur to you at any point in the production?
No, I think what's interesting about, you know, being an actor, you have to gamble, and you have to gamble. Am I going to work? Am I going to work all year? Yes, you will work all year if you're in a play, which I did 5 West End plays, so I was there for a year or 6 months, 7 months. But it's a gamble. You know, you have to say, people can't say, oh, I'm out of work, what's going on? And this is terrible. Yes, it is terrible, but that's the way it is. Once you're involved with it, you've got to take it on the chin. If you're not working and you don't work for 6 months, then get out and paint someone's house or have another job. It's the one thing my father said. He didn't like me being an actor, but before he died, he said, you've done really well, haven't you? And I said, well, yes, I think I have, Dad. He said, but think what you could have done. But he still went back to saying, you could have stayed on at school and studied, you could have played rugby, because I was a promising rugby player. But, somehow I fell into it after failing all my exams. But he was proud, but still he had to say, think what you could have done.
Fathers are the same everywhere, and I understand that after a few drinks, you're still quite the rugby player. Any truth to that?
Well, I used to love playing rugby, but I only played up to a certain level because unless you're building yourself up to be really meaty, it's no good, because you get hit in the shoulder and you think, right, that's it, I can't do this. And then the following weekend, you're back out there again after being beat. But then, as soon as the acting takes over and it's serious, you're told by your agent, look, don't get involved with any rough sports, because if you go to do that play in the evening with a bruised eye, you're not supposed to do that. And that in contracts, you're not supposed to get involved with rough sports in case you get injured and then you can't go on stage. So that was the end of any sort of rugby career. But then I turned to soccer and cricket, which I love, and of course we drew with America in the World Cup last year. Yeah. And I was at Disney when that happened.
Oh, that's a perfect place to be where there's a tie, isn't it? It's a funny thing. I remember where I saw that game too, and I was at Disneyland. I was at the Disney Resort out here, and everyone was like glued to the TV. Unbelievable. And to tie it on that goal, that's hilarious.
Oh, I know. One of the worst goalkeepers saves I've ever seen.
Or one of the best. It depends how you look at it.
Oh yeah, one of the best. But it was lovely because while we were on the stage, I was hosting the Star Wars weekends, and you were chatting away to people, and I said, well, I'm on the minute. Keep watching the football, see how it goes. And I remember coming off, and I said, yeah, well, before I went on, straight away England scored, and then when I came back on again and then came off, they said, America has just equalised. I said, oh, right. So then that was the end.
Oh, that was a great moment for
That
us,
was
man.
it.
No, that was a fantastic moment. I got another question for you regarding sort of a side note. When we had dinner not too long ago at the Omni Hotel, one of the actors from Star Wars approached us and was talking for a little bit. He played one of the Jawas, right? And
yeah.
Who was he? What was his name? Jeremy?
Not. Was it Mike Edmonds?
It might have been Mike Edmonds.
One of the little guys.
But it was interesting because he was so, he was a couple of glasses of wine into it, as most of us were, but he was so proud of the fact that he had secured an agent. But what I noticed in the conversation was how you and so many of the other actors from the franchise do get together at these events and get along.
I think the thing is, I think we all realized that it was an amazing time. No one knew that Star Wars was going to be so big. Mm-hmm. And I think it's lovely when we went to the event, you have the celebrations that go on. Like last year, we had Celebration 5. And in the evening, if Maureen's with me and you think, well, we've been with people all day, literally all day, I say, come on, let's just pop out and have a meal on our own. But the first couple of days, you come in, and they're at the bar, a lot of the actors, and we sit down and just chat away. Sounds like little birds in a tree. We're all going, yep, well, and do you remember the bit, and you reminisce. And it's fun that from any actor who has one line or has 2,000 lines, it doesn't matter who they are, they're all sitting chatting together. And that's what was so great about last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting to watch because you can't say that about a lot of casts, but you guys did seem to have you guys actually seemed very, very happy to see each other and talk to each other.
It's fellow actors and a lot of us saying, aren't we fortunate to be invited? I mean, the thing is, there's an awful lot of people they can pick to go to an event. There's loads of people that they can ask, would you attend our convention? And the one thing I've never done is I never invite myself anywhere. It's rather like my father used to say, wait until you're asked or spoken to. And I said, yes, Father. But, I've never invited myself to any event, and you wait to be invited. Because if they want you, they will call you and say, we'd love to have you at our event. I think to phone up and say, I want to come to your show, yeah, that's fine, but I think it's much better to wait to be asked.
Mm-hmm. I noticed, incidentally, the book you wrote. this collector's item is edited by a one famed Jamie Bulloch. Any enlightenment on who that might be?
Well, Jamie Bulloch is my youngest son of 3, and he does translation from German into English. That's what he mainly does. And at the moment, he's been getting incredible reviews as a very clever editor. I mean, to translate German into English, well, I mean, he's a scholar at German, but to translate that and get a review to say this is beautifully translated by Jamie Bulloch. So when I was at the stage, this is a few years back now, and the book was getting longer and longer, he said, look, why don't you let me edit it? Because you'll want to keep in all those bits, but I can just cut it out without any thought and thinking, oh dear, he's going to be upset. I'll edit it as I think it should be. Mm-hmm. And he did a terrific job. Then we got together for the final sort of few weeks to say, well, I don't want to lose that bit. I want to keep that in. I want to keep that photograph in and don't lose it. But he did a terrific job, because otherwise I would have kept it in and it would have been huge and thick and probably a bit rambling. Actors like to ramble, as I am now, going, hello, yes, and well, I remember. They waffle on. Mm-hmm. So he's cut quite a bit and edited it really well.
Where can people get this collector's item? Can they get
Well,
it?
they can, if they go on, now the thing is, they can see me if they know I'm coming to a convention way out in, I haven't been to Los Angeles for a while, which I'm hoping to do this year, but they can go on my website, which is jeremybulloch.com, and that's spelled with an H. Most people think I'm related to Sandra Bullock, but I'm not. No. So it's jeremybulloch.com, and then you can see what you have to do to obtain the book.
Can I ask you quickly? We recently lost the director of Empire Strikes Back, Irving Kershner.
Yeah,
He was a fantastic guy. Do you have a good Irving Kershner story for our audience in closing?
No, I think my one story with Kersh was when we were filming and he would direct you, because whether it was because you're a masked character and he thought he probably can't see the directions I'm giving him. Off comes the helmet and he said, right, Jeremy, what I want you to do is walk along slowly, just turn, move, maybe a look for a second, and then you follow Darth Vader. So you got this direction, and it was lovely, and then you did it absolutely exactly as he did it. Bar, as I mentioned before, bar you putting yourself in, and he'd look at you for a while and say, yeah, that's fine. But his that's fine was, hang on a second, I didn't do that. I didn't show Jeremy that. He's put something in. Mm-hmm. And it was huge fun. And to be in something, to be able to direct that so well, and to be in something that is so complicated, because there's got to be special effects put in, and the days are long, and you've got to shift on and move on with it. But he was a delight to work with.
It's Ethan, the executive director here at Brigade-Radio-One. As many of you know, we produce a lot of radio content with people like director Michael Lang of Bones and X-Files, director Steve Surgic of Lost in Space, Daredevil, Luke Cage. We work with a lot of producers as well, from Cindy Caponera of Shameless to Jason Schumann of Role Models to Eric Linus Kaplan of Futurama and Big Bang Theory. What we need is partnership. Go to patreon.com/Brigade-Radio-One. Become a partner today. Score yourself some concert tickets, VIP access, behind-the-scenes footage, and all kinds of other craziness. Get involved, become a partner. Help us not only deliver great radio content, but also help make the world a better place. Go to patreon.com/Brigade-Radio-One. You better subscribe to this channel before you look uncool.